Good morning. It's nice and warm in here, isn't it? Yeah, it feels good. How good and pleasant it is to be together in unity. You know, when Moses was in the story of Moses on the mountain with the burning bush, and the bush said, a talking burning bush said to Moses, that sounds like something that I might have experienced back in my 20s. Some of y'all get that. That's why I love unity, folks, right? So this talking burning bush says to Moses, I want you to go and share ideas, these principles, this microphone with people. Tell your people, here's a list of, I think they're principles, actually, instead of commandments. Spiritual principles. There's something beyond and behind the 10 Commandments. We like to look at things metaphysically, not literally here. So God is saying perhaps to Moses, go share these spiritual principles with folks. And Moses gets really nervous because I don't know if you know this, but in his story, it says he has a little bit of a stutter. So a lot of times his brother would speak for him. So he's very nervous. Moses says, well, who should I say sent me? You know, under what authority? And the bush said, well, tell them I am sent you. I am that I am. Now, one of the ways that this is translated from the Hebrew is I will be what I will be. So there's this sense of becoming there, not a finality. It's like creation isn't finished yet. There's still stuff to do. We're still here to create, to express, to learn, to grow, to expand. So take this to the people and share it with them. And so this morning, I am humbly playing the role of Moses, sent by the I Am to share spiritual principle with you. And the wonderful thing about principle is it works the same for everybody. Tell somebody, it works the same for everybody. Even me. Because, you know, I might think, well, this spiritual principle stuff, you know, I see other people using it. They seem to be having successful lives, but I don't know if it works for me. Well, we're all the same in God's eyes. We're all unique expressions of love, and you're here to be what you will be. The one unique expression of God that only you can be. But we do have examples of how to work spiritual principle. You know, we call Jesus our way shower in unity. He showed us the way. He said, do it this way. This is the way to live fully, to live abundantly, to live a generous life. You know, our daily word for today is generous or generosity. And I looked up the etymology of the word this morning, and I learned something new, that the word generous comes from a Latin word, Genesis. Chew on that for a minute. Yeah, the beginning, the source. But another way to define the word Genesis is of noble birth. Of noble birth. Tell someone, you are of noble birth. Yeah, I am of noble birth. Yes. So kings and queens and in-betweens, your subjects are your thoughts. So you have dominion over your inner landscape. And you can, what Myrtle Fillmore called, one of our co-founders, Myrtle Fillmore called, order your thoughts. You can order your thoughts. You know, you don't have to let your thoughts run wild. Because if you let your thoughts run wild, your thoughts are running you. So take a hold of your divinity, of your noble birth. Be what you are here to be. Some of y'all know that a couple years ago, I was blessed to go spend time in an ashram in India with a guru, a spiritual teacher named Amma. And I'm very impressed by her story. She had a humble beginning, and now she is worldwide, and she has a foundation that helps people. The spirit of generosity she has spread all over the planet. And so I have a little video I wanted to share with you this morning about Amma's beginnings.
Not so long ago, there was a little girl in a village in India. Each morning, her parents sent her to walk through the village, collecting vegetable peels for the family cows to eat. She visited more than 30 houses each day. In some houses, she saw that everyone was healthy and had enough to eat. But in the very next house, the people would be hungry and their jars empty. In the next house, someone was suffering from a serious disease and could not even afford a painkiller, let alone real medical treatment. In the next, someone was too old to take care of herself, with no one to look after her. And then there were the houses with thatched roofs, which leaked during the rainy season, when the entire family would be gathered inside, trying to take shelter under a single umbrella. Seeing all this little girl got angry at the world and angry at God. She got so angry about all the inequality and suffering in the world that she felt like hurling herself into a fire. But then she thought to herself, my death is not going to help anyone. People will continue to suffer, just as they always have. And then she thought, if it is one person's destiny to suffer, isn't it our responsibility to help them? With this simple yet profound conviction, that each of us has a responsibility to lend a helping hand to those less fortunate, this little girl moved forward with confidence in her life of service and compassionate care for all beings. She was just 9 years old, and people started calling her Amma, Mother.
So it's interesting that the little village that she grew up in is on an island off the western coast of southern India. And now her ashram is the whole island. So you can go to the ashram and see the little hut where she grew up. Now she's going around, her parents sent her to collect food scraps for their cows. And she's realizing as she's going from house to house that these people have less than we do. And a lot of them are suffering. And so she started hugging everybody. And her parents were very upset with her because little Indian girls are not supposed to touch grown men or even look them in the eye at this time. And she's going around hugging everybody. And she did it anyway, no matter what they said. And so people start calling her Amma when she's 9 years old. And then when she's a teenager, she declares that she is the living embodiment of the goddess Kali. And she's dancing around with a sword in her hut at times because one of the things that Kali does is she cuts off the heads of the ego, all of those things about your personality that you want to trade for something better. So Kali is a goddess that's seen with a necklace of skulls that represents all of those things: lust, greed, anger, depression, frustration that we want to get rid of. Just chop that off. So she's dancing around in her hut, and some of the men of the village didn't like the way she was behaving. So they took these poisoned thorns and they threw them into the hut when she wasn't looking, and she danced around on them anyway, and nothing happened. So she's like this amazing person, and now she has a foundation with centers all over the world. There's an Amma center in Atlanta. And on her 71st birthday last fall, the people at her center in Atlanta were raising money for storm victims in North Carolina. They were putting together bags for the homeless, kind of like we do here. I'm sure they probably had warming stations set up recently. So Amma isn't just helping the people of India, even though she builds schools and teaches women to be doctors and builds hospitals and gives the women jobs in the hospital and treats people for free. While I was there, my traveling companion got sick. There's a clinic at the ashram, and she went and got treated for free. Thousands of people go to see Amma every year, and so she gives them her darshan. Darshan means blessing. Hindu gurus do this in a lot of different ways, but you know how Amma gives her darshan? She hugs them. I got a hug on her 70th birthday. So here's somebody that just decided, excuse me, she was just going to go around hugging people that needed some comfort, and this whole worldwide foundation has grown up around her. The leaders of her country go to her when they need money, and she grew up in poverty. So to me, this is an extreme example of working spiritual law. It's about generosity. It's about giving. It's about an open heart that gives to everybody freely. She didn't ask them any questions. She didn't ask me anything about myself before she hugged me. Everybody gets a hug just the same, no matter what country you're from, how old you are, what color you are. Everybody's embraced. But then you might say, well, who am I to be Amma? Like, I could never do anything like that. Well, we already have one Amma. We don't need another one. We need you to be you, to the best you that you can be. Well, then you might say, well, how do I do that? You know, we talk a lot here about expressing the divine idea that you are here to manifest, to turn loose in the world. And that's a very abstract concept. It's kind of deep. Here's something practical that you can do. Some of y'all have taken the 4T program before, right? Anybody knew about that? Wow. So the 4 T's are tithing of your time, talent, and treasure. Giving a tenth or some of your spiritual essence, your gifts, in concrete ways of giving treasure, talent, and time. Treasure, talent, and time. You know, our daily word reminded us today that you sow, you reap what you sow. Whatever you sow, you're going to reap. This is a spiritual law. Whatever you put out, you're going to get more of. And that's even very materialistic stuff like money. I love money. Come on. I love money. Come on now. I love money. Money loves me. I am a magnet for money. I have all the money I can spend. I have enough money to share and to spare. That feels good, doesn't it? Come on now, get with me. Money is our friend. Money is on our side. And so when I want money, I start giving away some money. If I'm feeling poor, I find somebody to give some money to. Now, here's the thing. In my experience, you don't always reap where you sow, and you don't always reap when you sow. Okay? So I got $100 this week. Somebody gave me $100 because I gave of my time 2 months ago. I forgot all about it. And we just want to bless you. Thank you so much. We love you. Here's $100. Thank you. I like getting $100, don't you? It's fun. Somebody gave me $50 this week. I got money twice this week. Unexpected, out of the blue. Where's the blue? It's right here. It's inside you. The blue is inside you. Tell somebody. The blue is inside you. We are everything that we seek. If I feel the need to be comforted, then I find somebody to comfort. If I want to see peace in the world, then I try to be a peaceful person. I gave a lot of my time this week because it's not just tithing, giving, being generous is not just about money. Even though we love money, there's nothing wrong with money. Money's great. Time. I gave a great deal of my time to someone in need this week. And then I spent 2 days, probably you did too, locked up in the house, not able to go anywhere. So when I finally went out on Friday, I was feeling really good. Like, whew, like I've been let out of jail or something. Just like I'd never been so happy to go to Walmart in my whole life. And I was, why is everybody smiling at me? Because you're supposed to be frustrated and in a hurry when you go to Walmart, right? Like, get out of the way. I got shopping to do. No, everybody was smiling at me. I even drove through the parking lot. There was a guy jumping up and down in the back of his truck. And I was looking at him. He's wearing shorts and a T-shirt. And I looked over at him, and he just smiled and waved at me. And I got to thinking about that. It's like, well, of course, people are going to show up like that for me because I showed up like that for somebody this week. That's the way it works. It works the same for everybody. And just because it doesn't happen instantly, which it can, doesn't mean it's not working. This is where our faith comes in. This is where we say, I know that this universe operates according to spiritual law, and it's operating for me right now. But it's all in what we call what? Divine order, in God's own time. Divine order. So we give of our treasure. We give of our time. We give of our talent. There's this Eastern notion of dharma, D-H-A-R-M-A. And it's about being on purpose with your life. It's about the individual expression that you are. It's about something that you can offer the world in a way that only you can do it. You know, there are a lot of singers in the world, but nobody else sings like me. You could take that either way, right? There's a lot of guitar players in the world, but nobody plays the guitar like Georgia Kyle, right? Yeah. I mean, what is it that you can do? And it's not just like, oh, well, I'm not a musician. You're creative. Accountants are creative. Yeah. creative accounting. You can take that either way, right? You can use your power either way that you want to. So we order our thoughts. We change our mind and we change our life. Change your thought about what you're here to be. What will you be? How are you expressing the great I am that I am? There are concrete ways to do it, and there are abstract ways to do it. And there's a way to do it that only you can do it. It's like God is a light bulb. Okay, God's the electricity going into the light bulb that's within us. That's what we really are. And there's a shade on the light, and that's how the light filters out into the world. Some people have really fancy, expensive shades. Some people have kind of simple one-color shades. It's the same light. It's the same electricity powering the light, but we all express it in our own unique way. I just can't say it enough that you're here on purpose. Like, you're not a mistake. I don't care what anybody has told you, there's nothing wrong with you at your core. What you truly are, the genesis that you are, is you're divine. So let's be noble about that. Like, breathe that in. Take that in. You were wonderfully and beautifully made, and you're here for a reason. God don't make no junk. People aren't disposable. Everybody has a reason to be here. So what's yours? That's your job, is to discover it. How am I here to express my divine nature? How am I here to be the light in the world? And it all starts with being generous, about being willing to share that light. Don't hide your light. The world needs your light. Even in the darkest places, you show up as the light, because the greatest gift, the greatest example of generosity is your presence. Just showing up is huge. We all showed up for each other today, and I'm glad we're here. Tell somebody, I'm glad you're here. Yeah. So let's move into prayer one more time. Breathe into your heart. As you breathe into your heart, feel your divine nature activated. Think of the word inspiration, in spirit, inspire. Every breath that I draw in directly into my heart is activating the divinity within me, and I feel it loosen and expand. I am generous with myself. I am generous with my divine nature. I share myself with the world, for I am a divine expression of the one self, the one heart, the one mind. And as I share all that I am in the way that only I can do, I am blessed beyond measure. Pressed down, shaken together, running over. The windows of heaven are open within me, and a blessing is pouring out so much that I can't contain it all. My cup runneth over, and I am a blessing everywhere that I go. And I am so grateful for the examples of our way showers, Jesus and Amma, and pick your favorite one. I'm grateful for all of those saints and sages of all the ages that have come to show us the way to truth. And because we allow it, decree it, and declare it, and so it is. Amen.